Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought to you by TSWS Gaming.
Come and talk to me, Lennard Ray. That's
Come
your
on.
name. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you. If you quit playing, won't you take that chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Look, see we vibing and you know it's true. Baby, what it do? Do for me and I'ma do for you. No doubt about it, boo. See, I'm a Midwest king, looking for myself a queen. Ready to chase a dream with a dope self-esteem. You find it in all I know, and that's for real. You get to shaking that ass on the floor, and I see what's real. No disrespect, I just tell it like it is. Do you ever want some kids? What your ultimate goals? Maybe I can help with those. The mo was broke when he made you a blessing. You looking like a whole buffet, and I need some seconds. You say you had promiscuous ways, that was back in the day. I'll be alive, I say I did it. That shit was a phase. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you. If you quit playing, won't you take that chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Lady, you so far ahead of these others, just like a ship on the horizon. Picking up on your vibe, signal stronger than Verizon. All the thoughts that I've been contemplating, ain't no time for faking or debating. You the one, ain't no mistaking. Look, I see you swag different. Always carry yourself like you ready, you on a mission. I had to know you, I'm tempted. I can see why you timid. Hold up now, baby, listen. Just take that dance with me. I can show you that there's a difference. I'm locked in. I throw away my play ways because you pop in. A shooter always shoot a shot. With you by my side, I guarantee we'll reach the top. I put that on God and then I give you all that I got. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you. If you quit playing, won't you take that chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me.
Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought to you by TSWS Gaming.
Come and talk to me, Lennard Ray.
All right. Let's see. The voice is working, looking good. What up, everybody? Welcome to another fantastic episode of Behind Them Sticks with your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming. I'm here on the TSWS Gaming channel on YouTube. Welcome everybody that is watching, and I would like to welcome my guest here for the first time. I'm not sure if he's ever been on a podcast before.
Nope.
I mean, he came right out and said it. So, nope, this is his first podcast. And you guys know how I like to do. I like to keep, people that aren't on podcasts, people that are just gamers, content creators, people that develop games, whatever. I talk to everybody. I don't care what your following is. I don't care if you're a content creator or not. It is what it is. But let's get on to the show. Today, I got with us Mr. Mike Bison. I met him on Twitter. He goes by, I believe it's the Crazy Buffalo.
The Crazy right? Buffalo, yes sir.
There we go. So shout out to the chat real quick. Jose G, what's up? Stank Ma, what's happening? I'm sure a few other people are going to be rolling in here shortly. Make sure you guys, if you can, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. I'm definitely going to be having a wild rest of the month with guests and stuff like that. Next week, we got Mag Middle-Aged Gamer Guy coming on. And then later that week, we got Macca from Macca Guides coming on as well. He does like Macca 9-1 Productions. But anyways, let's keep it back to this episode specifically right now with Mike Bison. I just want to go over to you and ask you what gaming and social media platforms that you are on, so people can, either contact you to be on a podcast, or they want to hit you up to game, or they feel threatened that you have Mike Bison as somebody that you are that you're co-signing with, and they want to whoop that ass on Street Fighter. Where can they find you to get the smoke?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh well, they can find me on the PlayStation. I mean, my tags are in my profile. I mean, now I ain't no expert or nothing, but you want to run some games, we can do that.
Okay, all right, real simple. You said you can find me at my profile on Twitter. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's all there.
Get some smoke. All right, bro. Well, as somebody that's not into content creation, you like to more or less like to sit back and just watch people make a mockery of themselves and, do their damn things and whatnot. What made somebody like yourself come on to a podcast like this where I'm just, talking to people genuinely about themselves?
Honestly, it's hard for me to answer that question because you asked me, and I was like, whoa, he wants me to come on a show? I ain't never been on a show before, but you know what? If he feels I'm worth the time, why not? Let's go. Let's do it. Couldn't hurt. So I mean, it was really like, he wants me, little old me, big old nobody me. And I was thinking to myself, okay, sure, let's do it.
That's what's up.
Couldn't hurt.
Like that. I like that answer, bro. Yeah, you already know what it is. I like to holler at as many people as I can, as long as I can tell that you really enjoy gaming, you really actually do love, and have some passion for this hobby. Then yeah, I want to talk to you. I want to see what your point is. I want to see where you're coming from and how you got to where you are in gaming. So with that being said, what actually made you choose the name Mike Bison? I have a hard time believing that's your real name, bro.
No, it's not. And, for obvious reasons, I don't reveal that. So, let me see. I was always a big Street Fighter fan when I was a kid, growing up. And guess what? Mike Tyson I was a big fan of his. I used to watch him. I used to watch his matches, watch him on TV all the time when I was a kid. One thing that I learned is that he was actually the fighter who we know as Balrog. He was actually created to resemble Mike Tyson, but that's his original name is Mike Bison, M. Bison. That's his actual original name. I didn't know that till I was older. So, but I'd always loved to play as him because that's, he was just one of my favorites. So yeah, his name, but so if you actually play a Japanese version of Street Fighter, his true name is still there, M. Bison. And then, I think the other guy, so who we know as M. Bison in America, his real name is actually Vega. And who we know as Vega in America, his real name is actually Balrog. They swapped the names out.
That's wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they swapped the names out. The only person that was that kept his original name out of those four was Sagat. He's the only one that kept his original name from the Japanese version to the global version. So his actual name is M. Bison, who we know as Balrog. M. Bison, Mike Bison. So I was like, okay. So to me, that resonated with me more because it just brought two things together. So yeah, that's why I chose that. So I mean, if you play any Japanese version of Street Fighter or anything that has Capcom characters in it, the Japanese version, you will see their true names, their real names. I mean, a lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know that until I was older. But, and hell, guess who also didn't know that until recently? Mike Tyson. He didn't know that at all. someone actually had to show him a picture of Balrog, or who we know as Balrog. And it's like, and he was like, damn, damn. And he was like, damn, they must owe me some money.
Right.
Because I guess that was the reason they switched the names, because they didn't want to, give him that idea that they were basically using his likeness to develop a character.
Makes sense. Yeah, Stankma in the chat said, what? Never heard of that. And then DC Gaming came through and he said, pulling up to support the G, Mike Bison. So he came here to say what's up to you, and I just wanted to throw it out.
What's up, DC?
Yeah, I just want to throw out that respect that he's throwing your way. And right now, I think that's what's up. That's really nice. All right, so that describes the name pretty thoroughly. I mean, that's pretty dope. And you actually taught us all, or I mean, that is unless somebody else knew. You taught me a lesson, at least. I didn't know. Mm-hmm. So very interesting. What are you playing as of right now?
Well, let me see. Right now, I'm always going to be playing something from Soft. So right now, that game is Bloodborne, as you see my timeline. So also, I'm playing Wolfenstein 2, finishing that up. Let me see. I'm also, I think I have a couple chapters in Doom Eternal that I'm trying to finish up. Right now, I'm really just cleaning up my backlog plate. So I'm really playing those three. And that new joint that just dropped on Game Pass. This that Midnight
Express.
What is it called? That Midnight
Fight Express. Yep, Midnight Fight Express.
That joint right there is fire. Okay.
Yeah, it is fire. It looks so retro while you're playing it because it doesn't give you like that full like wild like I don't know next gen feel, but the fighting in that game is crispy. Oh, I think we might have lost him for a moment. He's doing his doing the call on the phone and whatnot. So let's see if he pulls back in. Hopefully he does. I'm not sure if he even realized that he off. So let me just wait a moment. Oh, there he goes. There he is. So did you catch up what I just got done saying?
No, what'd you say?
No, I was saying the game doesn't look next gen at all, but the fighting in the game is crispy, very crispy, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is. I mean, it don't have to look next gen for me to enjoy it. I'm not that kind of guy.
That's cool. Yeah, I like the element of being able to throw stuff, and they actually put guns in the game too, which I didn't see that coming at all. They put guns in it.
That was from left field. Yep.
Yeah, because you're just doing all this hand-to-hand combat, and they're like, "Hey, you want a gun?" And you're like, "Sure."
Oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, here, you doing all this hand-to-hand combat. Oh, here's a gun. Bang, 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 bang. Okay, let's go.
Yep, and it's like he's pissed off at the beginning of every level. He's like, let's go fuck these guys up and shit. Like,
get to it. Handle it.
And just to give you a heads up, you are more than welcome to curse on here. The only thing I kind of put a firm foot down on is like no N-words and all that. And then no acting too dang crazy. I mean, you can say what you got to say. You can use a couple cuss words, but you ain't got to act like a goddamn fool. But you're doing good. You good. But I'm just letting any of y'all know that decide to come on this show later on. Don't come on here thinking that you can act a fool. I will hit that goddamn stop stream button. I ain't got no problem with it on anybody that comes up on it. But anyways, moving on. Let's keep it cheery. So I asked you before we had started the show in the green room, and if you guys have been on previous, if any of you guys are watching from previous episodes, I like to ask this question. I asked him, what was your first console that you ever got? And he said, I had the Sega Master System, but not a lot of memories with it, more or less with the NES. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
Correct, sir. That is correct.
All right, I want you to explain the little bit, if you remember anything, of the Master System.
I remember the big fat black console that sat in front of the TV. That thing was massive. I remember the little bitty. I remember the black controllers that had a 1 and 2. It had some some dark brown buttons. I mean, I remember the console. You know, I remember the little Sega controllers, but I don't remember much of it. Like I said, I was too little to actually, I don't remember myself actually playing it. But I think my older cousin, he had it in the room because he stayed with us for a while. But I don't, like I said, I don't have very fond memories of it. But I remember it existing in my house, just not actually playing it. Now, the first console I actually resonated with was the NES.
Okay, and what was that like? What kind of games did you enter yourself into on that console?
You see, back then, which I loved about gaming, to where it had everything in the box. You had a game display, 2 controllers. Hell, I think that they even had the gun. You remember the gun?
Yeah. This.
No, you don't. Ah!
Yes, sir.
I like that.
Yeah,
So,
my daughter runs around with it and tries to shoot me with it, but yeah.
Okay, so you had the gun in the box, right? All that came 2 controllers, a game. Actually, it was a 3-in-1 game. It had Mario Brothers. It had Duck Hunt, and it also had the World Class Track Meet. Do you remember that?
Oh man, I love the track.
And guess what? Guess what we got? Guess what we got a couple weeks later? We got the Power Pad, baby. The Power Pad. Play that track meet.
Yes.
So you had a 3-in-1 game. Yes. So you had a 3-in-1 game, 2 controllers, a gun, all in one box. You don't get that no more. That was quality. Okay.
Oh man, and quantity
As well. You don't get that no more. But we had all that in that one box. It was lovely. But yeah. So that's when I first knew Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt. So when people talk about those games, I think about me in my living room, playing with my dad. He was real good at the clay though. The third game with the clay shooting, he was ace at that.
He didn't have to stand right next to the TV and hit it. Could he sit back?
No, he didn't. But yeah, I mean, we figured that out after a while. You just put the gun right on the TV and just glide across the screen.
Yep. That's how my daughter was playing it.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, I got this little ass TV too. This little ass TV, so she just stands like literally this far away from it and just shooting shit, just lighting it up. But it's cool to see. It's cool to see her play something that I remember playing when I was young, because she's only 4 years old.
No, it's actually nice. I mean, that's something I like to do with my younger ones. But all my old stuff is in my mom's garage in Dallas. So one day I keep saying I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go back there and dig everything up.
Well, maybe seeing something like this might encourage you to run out there and go to get it. But just remember how much of a pain in the ass that NES is getting live and cracking, because you got blow in that motherfucker. I mean, you got to hope that the chip reader is still working right, Mm-hmm. Oh man. I mean, they actually advise you not to do that, but it's like, motherfucker, how else am I going to get it to work?
Yeah, apparently I found out that was a myth. It was just it was something with the pin connectors on the console that was the actual issue. I didn't, but we just did what everyone else did by blowing it.
Right. It made it work, so it is what it is. But now I want to kind of move a little bit forward. So NES, okay, that's what kind of got you into gaming. But What was like the first like game or console that like took your breath away? Like you were just like, this right here is just, this is different.
This is different. Well, let me see. Well, let me see. The first console that really just, really put me on, I would say the original PlayStation that I had, back then. I think my mom, she bought it for us from Sam's. That had everything in it. I mean, for me, that was a really different experience. But luckily for me, I had family and friends that were able to help me out with some games. So a lot of those in those days. But going back to it now, I probably couldn't. But nowadays, I would. That was probably my first console that really blew me away. Even though I did have some of the others during the meantime, because back then we were younger. The barriers to gaming weren't as low as they are now. If you didn't have it, you didn't have it. Period. If you couldn't afford it, you didn't have it. Period. So nowadays, back then, I really got a lot of help with my because I had cousins. Sometimes neighbors would, hey, my son graduated. He doesn't play these. You want these? Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I had a massive infusion of games when I actually started playing. When I actually had that regular PlayStation, that big old fat gray contraption with the two buttons on each side, to where where you can use that, and you can also use it as a CD player.
Tell them about it. Remember the light show on it?
Yes, on the light show on your TV and all that. See, back then those were the days. See, now you got me going back.
That's what I do. But throw out some games on there that were significant to your history in gaming.
For that platform, let me see. Let's start with the demo discs. Okay? Because in my days, demo discs, we treated them as games. Okay.
So you remember that joint with Siphon Filter on it, Wipeout, yes, and all those joints?
Yes.
You used to get the PlayStation magazine with the disc in it.
Yes.
Too Big. Actually, he'll probably be popping in on the chat at some point, but he reminded me that Pizza Hut used to have a deal where they'd give you a game if you ordered a pizza. You get demo discs. Like they were pushing games.
I remember that, but we used to have demo discs, the Volume 6, the Volume 7, the Volume 8. We used to trade. It's like no. This one's got Game Day 97. Hey, but the Volume 8 has Game Day 98.
Game I want Day that with Jerome Bettis on the cover. Let's go.
Bro. That's another thing I miss about the older days. We had so many football options.
Ooh, yes, we did.
Like Game Day was in its best days. Quarterback Club and Troy Aikman football, Joe Montana football. Youth League football, hell.
Deion
Super
Sanders
high
even had his.
Deion Sanders had it. Yeah. I mean, we had so many options for football. We didn't just have one. I think it was better back in those days, if you ask me.
But the creative aspect was definitely better back in those days. I mean, you could argue that, the graphics and technical stuff that they do in Madden nowadays is dope. You could say that, sure. But I remember when 2K put them in their fucking place, bro, and they did it.
Let me tell you something.
The hardest
2K was better than Madden ever since NFL 2K on Dreamcast. 2K has been better than Madden all up into they got exclusive rights because hell, the 2K was always better. I mean, ESPN 2K5 is probably the best, the most feature-rich football game ever made. And still, Madden still cannot top that, in my opinion.
Not even close.
So,
not even close. I mean, you were going for celebrities. You had your own house. You had the trophy room, first-person football. If you had Xbox, you could put tracks onto it to where you score a touchdown and Lil Wayne come on or something like that.
Yes.
Fire man. Oh man, that you know what I'm talking about? So like,
I do.
That shit was popping back in the day. And I mean, the halftime shows with Steve Berman, and he's sitting there saying, the 50, the 40, the 30, as you're running down, and you're looking at your character live running down.
Yeah. Yes, I remember.
So that shit was hot.
It was, and after that, nothing.
Nah, man, it was sad. It was that $20 deal that pretty much stripped the license away. I swear from 2K. I swear.
But why though? It was so good. It was so good. The game was so good, and if they were worried about quality, that game was so damn good.
And don't even forget about the 2K basketball either, because 2K basketball was eating up live.
2K basketball was eating up live since NBA 2K live was getting ate up year on year on year. Okay, it's just facts. 2K Sports, EA Sports. Okay, greater than.
Yeah, to the end of the night. I hear that. Blind Giant, what's up? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping through. DC Gaming says PS2 Slim, he's saying that he still has his PS1 and PS2 and PS3 Slim. Gonna get a PS4 shell so I can have the whole family. So go ahead with that, DC. Do your damn thing. Get all them consoles. I mean, they crazy expensive now. That PS4 right now is selling more than like it's almost the damn same price as a PS5 at some of these stores. It's like $420. Like is the last time I seen, and I'm like, this is insane. Like I went to one store and I seen an Xbox. I seen an Xbox One S digital being sold for $350.
That is insane.
You are drunk. Like the Series S is cheaper and literally better in
a world apart.
I mean, it is a world apart, right? But I'm just saying, like, if you're looking at it, it's just like the Series S and this Xbox One S digital, so it means it takes no discs, is somehow $100 more than that Series S, and they sold it. They sold it. Somebody bought it, and I was hurt because I was there while they bought it, and I wanted to say something so bad, but I was just like, you know what, you gonna learn. You gonna, because at the end of the day, it ain't my problem. It ain't my problem.
Yeah. Yeah,
but bro, I mean, I feel bad for letting that person walk out the door, but it is what it is. But
oh my goodness.
But so back on topic to where we were talking about. We were talking about like the old football games and the original PS1 initially, because you were talking about Game Day and all these other games that were with it. I know you remember Game Breaker back in the day.
Yeah, the college. Yeah.
Yeah, my brother was actually in one of those games, like kind of. I mean, because they don't get paid to be in the game, but he used to play at Notre Dame as a cornerback. So I found my brother and found his jersey and played as him when I was a kid, and that kind of helped me get in the game. And so that was a pretty big deal having that. I wish I still had that game.
That's dope.
I'm sure I could find it.
That's dope.
Yeah, but that was pretty cool. But let me know a little bit more about that history on the PlayStation. So, I mean, how early or late did you get into the PlayStation? Was it fairly early in the generation, or was it kind of like mid to later?
I would say somewhere mid, because I mean, my mom was a single parent, so she's not the type that'll actually go and get me all the latest stuff all the time. Single parent with 3 kids, so it was more late. I mean, it was mainly because there was a sweet deal at Sam's Club. So you know how Sam's Club sells bundles of stuff sometimes?
Right.
At Sam's Club, they were selling this really good PlayStation bundle. And that's how we got it. If it wasn't for Sam's Club, we probably would have never got it. I think it came with 2 controllers, the console. It came with one memory card, and 2 games actually. NFL Extreme. Do you remember that?
Yes, I have it.
And Cool Borders 2, which is actually one of my favorite games. Cool Borders 2 is, I still play that on my phone because I love it so much. So it's still one of my favorite snowboarding games ever. I still play it.
A Big Air was my shit.
Yes. Big Air and unlocking Grady Alien and doing 8920s on a spaceship.
That shit's wild. All right. So you had a pretty good history with PlayStation though, but you came after the cardboard boxes. You were there when they actually had like CD discs, cases and stuff like that, just the regular ones and whatnot. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this because I don't think a lot of people know about it, or maybe I'm wrong. But do you remember taking a disc out of your PlayStation and putting it into your stereo?
Yes. I mean, now it depends. Now, if you actually remember, some games actually had the CD tracks to where you can put them in your CD player and they'll play. Cool Borders 2 had that. You pop it in the CD player and all the BGM will play track by track. Now, some of them won't play. It'll say like, warning, this, yada, yada, yada. I mean, so not all games did that. They'll have a warning there. Had this automated robot woman saying warning, but some games that actually had CD tracks, they will play track by track. Cool Borders 2 was one of those games.
I remember that. So, I think all of the Twisted Metals did that as well. I mean, not all games do. Some games did that. It just depends on how they did the disc. Okay, I was just interested if you ever tried that out because
all the time.
I mean, when you're a kid, you're trying to see how everything works and see all that stuff. So yeah, you want
to tinker and experiment with everything. Yeah, I did it.
All right, so we on the same level with that one. I feel you. All right, so moving a little bit further into the history that you kind of had with gaming, what was the next kind of? I'm guessing it was probably PlayStation 2. Am I right?
Actually,
or was it Dreamcast?
No, it was Dreamcast.
Okay. Put me on game.
And
what happened?
That actually answers one of your questions, because that's the one. Now it was great. Now that's one of the ones, because I did a bunch of. I actually had to earn that one. Picked up leaves during the fall, mowed a bunch of lawns. Hell, we even sold lemonade. I mean, we did a lot of things, and I actually earned that. If my mom told me if I can come up with half of it, she'll pay the other half. So that was actually the first console that I actually put money toward and effort towards earning. So Dreamcast is a sentimental part of the game person that I am. Because that's why. Now, I will say I had a lot of highs and lows on that console. The highs were in the first part of the life cycle. The lows were in the last part. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Well, obviously, I want to talk about the earlier part first.
Well, the earlier part was great. It was great. All these new games coming out, a lot of new technology that wasn't done before.
VMUs and rumble packs.
VMUs were amazing. And I really wish that was just another part of Sega's lost pioneering ahead of its time type of invention. Sega had a thing for that, to where they're ahead of their time, but the technology available isn't there to support their vision. But where they're thinking, they're ahead of their time. But it's just the technology there wasn't there, or the industry there wasn't there to support that vision, because that was one of those. Because the VMU was amazing. I mean, you can do a lot of things on it. I mean, you could take it, Sonic 2, you can design, you can raise chows on it off the console. Just pull out the VMU, raise chows on the VMU, and plug it back in the Dreamcast. right? Or NFL 2K, you can call plays on that thing. It won't be on the screen. You looking at your VMU and you're calling the play on your VMU.
Mm-hmm. It even showed the routes and stuff like that.
Yes, it did. I mean, so that was very amazing. And it's like, a lot of the games, let me see, Sonic Adventure, Power Stone. Let me see, which one I had? Hydro Thunder, which was a lot of fun. They had a lot of RPGs introduced me to. They brought a lot of fighting games over that were actually better than their PlayStation versions, like Street Fighter. A lot of Street Fighter there, like Third Strike, Alpha 3. Because me, I love my fighting games. That was probably the one console that really honed my fighting game persona was Dreamcast, because Capcom went hard on Dreamcast.
Marvel vs. Capcom was so good.
1 and 2. They had 1 and 2 on Dreamcast. And, which are actually very good versions. The inputs, video, lag. I mean, if you look at it, fundamentally sound, they're still great versions of those games.
I'll never forget that song. I want to take you for a ride. Yeah. Yeah.
You see, that's another thing that I miss. That's another thing that I miss of older games, right? Because back in those days, you actually had to unlock stuff. All you had to do was play it. That's it. You didn't you wanted costumes, characters, modes. All you had to do was play it and unlock stuff. Now you have to buy everything. It's all sliced up like pie.
Right.
If you want new skins, new characters, they come out, release them in seasons. Marvel vs. Capcom had 50-something characters, all in the game. Now, you didn't have everyone to start off, but all you had to do was play and keep earning points and buying characters, keep earning points and buying skins, and, not skins, outfits and colors. All you had to do was play. Just keep playing, and you unlock. But now, that's one thing that I do miss, though. So that was solid about that game. Let me see. They also had Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2. They had, what's the name? The Capcom versus SNK 1 and 2. Now, yes, they had both of those on the Dreamcast. So they had a bunch of King of Fighters on there too. Garou, Mark of the Wolves, all that was there. So, also they had, they didn't have the first one. They also had Project Justice, which was Rival Schools 2. I don't know if you ever tried the first Rival Schools on the PlayStation. No?
No, I haven't tried it on either one of the consoles.
Well, look up Rival Schools, but they also had Rival Schools 2, but in America it was called Project Justice, which was very popular among the fighting game fans there. I think Sakura from Street Fighter was in Rival Schools.
Okay.
She was in the first game, but she wasn't in the second, though.
Did you ever get into Shenmue?
Shenmue was my shit. Yes. I had Shenmue 1, and see, Shenmue 1, I played so much. That's another thing ahead of its time. That's ahead of its time, but the technology wasn't there to support it. I think a lot of it lives in Yakuza now, but Shenmue was the shit. But, that's another thing one thing that did upset me about, that disappointed me later in the Dreamcast life cycle, when the console started to decline.
Right.
And, there were a lot of games getting canceled. Some games came out, some games were being canceled and, being ported to GameCube, one for PS2. I think they did a few for Xbox. Shenmue 2 was a casualty for us. Because Shenmue 2 was actually supposed to come out on the Dreamcast, but it didn't. At least for the States. Do you remember that?
I thought Shenmue 2 did come to the Dreamcast.
It did, but not in the States. I had to get I had to get an imported version. I think it came out in Japan. It came out in Europe. But it didn't come out in the States, not on Dreamcast.
That's a miss.
It was Japanese with English subtitles. So I had to get used to that because I played the first game in full English translation. So that was an adjustment for me. So I had to. So it came out in Europe, but it was Japanese with English subtitles. Now the actual American release was canceled, and it was made an Xbox exclusive, the original OG Xbox.
Yeah.
You know, it was part of their. I think it was part of their multi-game partnership with a bunch of Sega games. I think it was like the Panzer Dragoon, Jet Set Radio Future, the Sega GT. Everything okay?
Yeah, everything is fine. I was looking to see if I could grab it, but it's way in a pile. But Shenmue 2 comes with a DVD inside of it as well of Shenmue 1. So if you missed out on Shenmue 1 and you happen to get Shenmue 2, or if you just don't remember it, you can sit back and throw that DVD in and watch the whole damn thing and then hop on straight into Shenmue 2. And I thought that was a nice touch.
It was.
Mr. Blackwood? What's the name?
Okay. So, I mean, for me, it was a nice touch, but I mean, at the same time, for me, it was disappointing because I didn't want to have to buy another console to play Shenmue again.
I feel that.
You know?
Yeah,
because you know the story.
Time, yeah.
The first part left off at a cliffhanger. I wanted to finish it, but a lot of the games that were promised got canceled and moved to either didn't come out in the States or they were moved to other platforms. And a few of those, there was one. I think some of my favorite fighting games I actually had to import because of that, like Guilty Gear X, DOA 2, the special edition. I had to import that. So, but now back in the day, if you had the first ones, you know they weren't region locked. You know that, right? But I think after they refreshed the console, they were region locked. But there was a way around that. Do you remember the boot disc?
Yes, actually. Oh wow, I haven't heard that in a long time. Yeah.
The Utopia boot disc.
What's that?
The Utopia boot disc.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I never had one of those, but I remember hearing about needing to have some of those to play import games.
Well, at first you didn't because the first Dreamcast weren't region locked. But then when they refreshed the console, the newer versions, you needed the boot disc to play them. So all you had to do was get that. So you put the boot disc in, and then the boot disc will prompt you to put the game in. Just put the boot disc in and put the game in, and you were golden. But that's only if you had the second edition. The first edition, you were good.
So yeah, I don't know which edition I had. It was so damn long ago. Probably the second edition, because more than likely I probably went and purchased an import game and it didn't work. And then somebody told me that. And that's probably how I heard from it. Now on the PlayStation, on the original PlayStation, I had a Game Shark thing that took a memory card in, and you put the disc in, you let it load, and then you hit the open thing button, and you had a little spring inside of it that kept the disc moving, and it kept it reading. So when it told you to open the disc tray, you took out the disc and put whatever Japanese game in. And for me at that time, it was either Dragon Ball Z Final Bout or it was Ultimate Fighter 22. You remember those, don't you? Because you laughed.
Final Bout, I remember. Yes, I played that one at a friend's house. I remember he didn't actually have. He had this weird way to rig. He had this weird way to rig the console to bypass the region lock. I forgot how he did it. He did it with a paper clip. I don't.
Yep, you could do it with a paper clip too. Yep.
It was. I only saw him do it once, but I thought like, what the heck? But apparently that's how they bypassed. That's how they bypassed the region lock with the paper clip. I mean, they had a way of prying the disc tray open. It was weird. But it worked.
Yes, thank you, DC Gaming. He actually reminded me that it wasn't Game Chart, it was Action. Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe it was Game Chart. Because I remember I had a memory card with it. Maybe it was called Action Replay.
No, Pro Action Replay existed, but Game Shark did exist for the regular PlayStation. Because I know my homeboy had one. Because I remember he had one, but actually it seemed like it plugged in the back of the console. If I remember right, because he had one. I remember
so mine came in like a PS2 Lite case. It had a memory card for the Game Shark memory card. It had a disc and a spring in there. yeah, and I remember opening it. I was like, "What the fuck is a spring in here for? Am I supposed to open up my console or something?" And they're like, "No, like there's like a little triangular thing that pushes down on the PlayStation when you close the disc to keep the disc moving, and that's what you're supposed to attach it to. And forever stays on that." So I thought that was pretty legit.
Okay. You want to move on to your next one?
Yeah. So what up, Sour Blow, and what up, Cozy Beluga in the chat? Good to see y'all.
Hey, Cozy Beluga.
Yeah, she's a wild one. She's a wild. If you didn't know, Mike Bison, she's on this channel's show every Friday called Bullsitting. Yeah, she comes through each week and spits her bars and talks about Halo needing fishing in it and shit. And to be honest, I mean, after that news today, Halo needs anything he can get right now. So shit, I'll take some goddamn fish.
I don't know what's going on with that. Oh my gosh.
It's embarrassing.
But, I mean, the only part that disappoints me because, for me, here's the thing. I grew up, I mean, Halo is what made me buy an Xbox because like when I was in my Army days, a lot of my friends, they had Xboxes. They used to have LAN parties, right? Halo LAN parties. You remember those? Where they would just hook a bunch of their consoles up together and they'll just play. Yeah. So, I didn't want to feel left out. So I went and got me one too. So, I wanted to hang with them, but honestly, those were some great times. We had a blast doing that. And, I mean, the first time I played campaign was co-op. I played co-op with my cousin because he's the one that actually brought me into it. He's the one that actually put me on Halo. So, we were playing the campaign and co-op together. But the thing is, over the years, from what I've learned, it's like what actually set Halo apart from, in my perspective, is just the diversity of ways you can play it. The diversity of experiences that no other provided. So, I mean, even if you don't do split screen like you used to back in the day, I still respected the fact that, it's still part of your identity, what you do, what you are, and what you do, because everybody's experience with that franchise is different. And the diversity of experiences is what makes it great. That's what's always made it great. So, for me, taking that away is disappointing. It's disheartening because honestly, that's one of the things that disappointed me about Halo 5 because you can't play it with, and they promised that they would rectify that for the next installment after that. So
we won't do that again. We'll be prepared.
Exactly. That they promised they would rectify that after Halo 5. So for this to happen, it's that I find that immensely disappointing because the campaign is where my experience is centered around. Now,
Gotcha.
I mean, multiplayer is fun, but for me, it's the campaigns and the co-op and the single player, because I've always had these epic campaigns and I love them. So for me, that's disappointing because I was waiting on that. That's the update I was waiting on, not the new maps. That's what I was waiting on.
Okay. And were you going to be playing campaign co-op like on the same TV, or were you just looking to join up on some people?
Both.
Damn.
I played both. Like, cause the other day, sometimes I used to play Halo campaigns with my wife. We'd have a little game night, or I might bring my son into it. My oldest, show him how the OGs get down.
Right now you can't.
Oh, pull you away from college, from Warzone and Apex. Come play a grown man's game.
You remind me of that guy with 007 that was freaking out. Woo! He was so excited. All right, so let's keep it moving before we get stuck on this subject too long. So Dreamcast was what got you into that generation, but what took off for you? So was it the PlayStation 2 or was it like the Xbox? Because you said you got an Xbox for LAN parties and all this other stuff. Which one would you say you have more of a tighter connection with?
A tighter connection? Let me see. From the 6th generation, I don't think I had a tighter connection with any others but the Dreamcast. But I didn't get a PS2 until later. Because I actually, because I know they had all the Final Fantasy games on there, but it was actually from the Dreamcast I went more to the Xbox because I was following Sega. Because Jet Set Radio Future was there, playing Shenmue 2 in English was there. I actually followed Sega there, not necessarily Halo, but it was part of the package, which I did love. Sega GT was there.
Sega GT was that shit. Sega GT was dope. Like, nobody ever talks about Sega GT, but I remember when I got done playing Gran Turismo 2, the PlayStation was coming out with a spec for the PlayStation 2, and for some reason I never got to a spec because I was too busy on Sega GT. That game was
I never
hot.
played Gran Turismo 3. I played Sega GT 2002. That was my shit.
Yes, with the 4 GT on the front, the yellow one with the black stripes. That game was so fire.
The 4 GT concept, yep.
That game was dope. Yes, sir.
Yes, it did. It had, for the technology, for what was available at its time, it was definitely a solid racing game, and I loved it. License tests, things like that. I know Gran Turismo has license tests. It was Sega GT that I actually started getting better at driving because of license tests. It was actually Sega GT. It wasn't Gran Turismo.
Yeah, so, I think that was the first game that I remember. Like I think you might have changed. I think you did change your oil in GT2, but in Sega GT it showed the thing dripping down, and it actually had you when you went to change your oil, it made you go home and made that little wrench noise in the background when you were working on your car. And I don't know, something about that I thought was really dope at the time. It was a big step forward.
All that. The car made the upgrade system wasn't as deep as Gran Turismo, but it was there. A lot of the framework was there. But the
we cut out again. I think he's at work right now, so he's doing what he can, I guess, to be here today. So I much appreciate it. And I also appreciate you all in the chat and whatnot for sticking around. Interesting episode. So what's up? You're back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It's internet.
My connection's jacked up. It must be mine. But I'm on Wi-Fi. I don't know what the problem is.
I don't know. It's a whole lot. It's probably Discord.
It might be. Anyways, so you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's go on ahead. And because you said you kind of was kicking it with the Xbox because of Sega and whatnot. So once the 360 came out, did you follow suit with Xbox and keep it with Halo, Gears of War, started coming to it and stuff like that? Did you follow suit with that, or did you hop onto that $600 PS3? That was outrageous.
Stop it. Okay. Here's let me tell you. Okay, so I got my Xbox 360 when I was on a mid-tour leave in Iraq. It was in 2006. I bought an Xbox 360, and I absolutely loved it. I bought quite a few games. I bought I think Gears of War wasn't out then, so I didn't get Gears of War until I came back in November. Gears wasn't out then. I think I bought a few, like I had Need for Speed, I had DOA 4. Let me see. Oof, it was way back then.
You was playing the beach ball game too, weren't you?
We all played that. Well, let's not cap. We all played that.
That game was fire.
Exactly. We all played that. You know, it was more of the eye candy. We loved it. Okay.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Sorry, Cozy. But okay. So you were playing that. Did you pick up, like, were you into Call of Duty at that time? Did you pick up like World at War?
Actually, World of War wasn't out then. It was the Call of Duty that was out then was Call of Duty 3, and I did play that. I liked it, but then when I came back, when I actually got back from Iraq in November, I didn't know, because I was disconnected from the gaming world because I was in another country. Now, I wanted to know, I went to GameStop, right? I asked the guy, okay, what's out? What's good? What's good? What's out right now that's good? Recommend me something. He recommended me Gears of War. So I got that.
Ooh. And you didn't regret it, did you?
Hell no. I mean, because when someone asks me, right, what is that one game that you popped in your new console and played and say, this is it? This is next gen. Gears of War was that game.
Okay. So Epic had their minds right back then with Gears of War.
It was amazing. I mean, just the visuals, it just looks so good. Everything around it, just the characters, the art, the visuals, all the blood everywhere. It's just like, you're not used to seeing that kind of visual quality on the console. I don't have those wow moments anymore, but Gears of War was definitely one of those.
Yeah, I remember one of the first times I busted out that chainsaw gun. Oh, bro. You wanted just to go, you didn't even want to shoot anymore. You just wanted to just cut everybody. You just want to
run up on everything and cut everything down. Yes. You want to use that chainsaw as much as you possibly could. I mean, it was great. Now, so yeah, my first one was the Xbox 360. Now, I didn't get the PS3 until a couple years in because it just, I don't know. It was too expensive, and it didn't have a lot of games that it had some games, but it's like it didn't make much sense to have something that's $200 more that offered you less. So I waited on that. I mean, it got better eventually, of course, but when it first came out, no, I didn't invest in it because it didn't make much sense to me.
Okay,
so I stayed on.
Okay, so later on, I mean, because this seems to be a trend with a lot of people, and it makes sense because PlayStation was a little rough at the beginning of PS3, and Xbox was killing it, and then the roles kind of swapped a little bit where Xbox is all about Connect and PlayStation had all the games. So what games were what games were really significant to you for the PS3 during that generation? Because for a person like me, I skipped out on the PS3 that whole generation. I was only original Xbox and 360. Oh shoot. We disconnected again. Oh man, that internet is rough for my boy. But he gonna be all right. He'll be right back here in just a damn second. All right, cool. So he's back. So yeah, which ones were more significant for you? Was it the what games on the PS3 that is?
It's amazing. I like.
Oh shoot. So okay. This is wild right now. He's taking me for a ride. There we go. You taking me for a ride today, bro.
I don't know.
All right, so I didn't hear the first game or anything else.
Oh my gosh, my Wi-Fi dropped.
No, you're good. I can see you now. So go ahead and keep your camera off now. Maybe that'll help you out a little bit. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. There you go.
I can hear you.
All right, cool. So maybe that'll help out on some bandwidth or whatnot, because looks like you in a busy area. But anyways, what was really hot for that beginning, or not the beginning, but the last little bit, or the last several years, I guess I should say, for the PS3 for you once you got it?
Let's see. That Uncharted was amazing.
The first one?
Yeah, actually, the first one was good, but the second one was the best one. But I mean, Uncharted. Let me see. I did like Heavenly Sword. Now it was short, but it played great. I mean, that was made by Ninja Theory.
Mm-hmm.
Back in those days. I mean, it was short, but it played great. Let me see. Infamous was always one. I loved Infamous 1 and 2. There was God of War 3. There was let me see. Killzone 2 was great. Killzone 3 was also good. I wish they would have stuck with that and fleshed that out a little more. But the Killzone 2 and 3 were great. The first one was trash, but the 2 and 3 were great. I mean, there was quite a lot of games there.
Did you ever mess around with Resistance from Insomniac or anything?
Resistance 1 was great. Resistance 2 was mediocre because they tried to do that dual wield thing with Halo, which I didn't like. So Resistance 3, they rectified that. Went back to what made the game great in the first place. They tried to be more like modern shooters, but they didn't have to do that at the time. They just had to be Resistance. And Resistance 2 kind of took away from what made the first one great. But Resistance 3, kind of like they listened to the community and what they liked and what they didn't like. And so they rectified a lot of the mistakes that they made with Resistance 2. So Resistance 1 and 3 were awesome. 2 was mediocre. So just remember that. But yeah, good franchise. 2 out of 3. Not bad.
Gotcha. All right. So now let's go into one of the last ones, which is this last generation, the previous one to the one that we're in right now. So Xbox One, PlayStation 4. Did you go straight into the PlayStation 4, or were you still kind of dabbling around with Xbox for a little while?
I was okay. Here's the thing, because Xbox was in a very weird state at the time. Because honestly, don't get me wrong, I think the Kinect, and PlayStation did theirs too, no lie. But I think they tried to catch on to that motion gaming craze. They wanted their take on it. Kind of like their Me Too on the Wii success, on the motion gaming thing. But I think Microsoft made a gross miscalculation on the longevity of that, because even the Wii platform died out pretty quick. It sold a bunch of consoles, but the platform pretty much went kaput a lot quicker than the other two. You know what I mean? So I think they might have miscalculated, because they had the Kinect 2.0, but at the same time, when at the first of the generation, I actually was more on with the Xbox One side, because I went to where I think they had a better lineup of games. They had Dead Rising 3, they had Rise, they had Forza 5, and then they had Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare, Titanfall, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they had some solid titles at the very beginning. That's
exactly.
No doubt.
So I mean, Killer Instinct, let's not forget, you know what I mean? So, they had a more solid offering of games. So it just, I did get the PS4, after a few months later, because I usually after the Dreamcast days, I don't put all my eggs in one basket anymore. I like to have, I like to have my hands in everything now. Because, you know, having to miss out on games because of the platform you're on, you know, that's something that I didn't want to do anymore. Now that I have the means to, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So nowadays I don't do that. So what I did get it later, but I went with the Xbox One first because at first they had the better games. I mean, at least the first couple of years, you know, because the year after that, 2014, they had what? Sunset Overdrive. They had Rise of the Tomb Raider. You know, they had the Master Chief Collection. You know what I mean? I mean, they had a better out the gate. They had a better offering of games. That changed that did a whole 180 later in the generation. But you know what I mean? But at first, yeah, I did go with it because they had games, despite their blunders with the Connect, you know, and the whole DRM issue, quote unquote, they still had games.
Okay, so
you know,
what was the first game that set the PS4 apart from the Xbox in your mind? So the game that kind of pulled you away from Xbox, what was it?
See, the thing is, the PS4 games, they didn't really start coming until later in the generation because, like, you know, when they started, let me see, it was 14 or 15 that game came out? Okay, so I think the first one they had, okay, because let me see, what did they have back in those days? I know, let me see, they came out with what, Killzone, Shadowfall?
Yeah, that was Shadowfall.
Which, I mean, started out great, but wound up mid. Knack, I like.
Well.
I actually like Knack, to be honest. But then there was that other one. I forgot the name. It doesn't matter. Let me see. I think when they started coming, let me see. Uncharted 4, Street Fighter 5. I mean, when they started, but a lot of the PlayStation 4 better games, they were coming in the later end of the generation, not the very beginning, because. I don't remember that game. There's one game that I'm trying to remember. I just don't remember it. Must have not been that big. But let me see. But I know those were two of them though. Exactly. I think see Uncharted 4. I know there was my Street Fighter, and I think a lot of people were. I think I got roped in with a lot of my friends because I know they had PlayStations, and you know. I'm a big Destiny guy too, so I played it as well with a lot of people. I don't remember him. I don't.
Yeah, didn't you just recently knock the dust off of Destiny?
Well, the thing is, Destiny is a game that I come on and off of. You know, it's one of those games that, you know, it's there, but if I played that for all the time, I wouldn't play anything else. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those games that, you know, it's always there. So there are times that I take breaks from it, you know. I mean, I did that with Destiny 1 as well. You know, I'll take off a few months, come back, you know, start playing again. You know, take a few months off, come back, start playing again. You know, because if I stuck with that game, I wouldn't play any other games, right? Because, you know, let me see. I don't know. Do you remember Final Fantasy 11? It was an MMO online game. Right, so
okay.
I played that game. I put thousands of hours in that game, but I missed out on a lot of games because I was playing that game regularly, and that was like the only game I was playing. And honestly, that's the reason that I refuse to play Final Fantasy 14, because if I get roped into another game like that, I'm not going to play anything else, because those games are they're very addictive. They're very time consuming as well. They will take over your game, because games like that, you know, they have a lot of grind time. To actually, you know, make good progress in games like that, you actually have to put time in. Time I don't really have, you know, because, you know, now that you're older, you have less time. You have more money and less time versus less money and more time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, so, I mean, I hear your sentiment because I was big into Ark Survival Evolved for like 3 years. I put about, I want to say around 140 days onto that game.
Yikes.
So yeah. So when you say missed out on games, bruh, I hear you.
Exactly. So I didn't want to go down that same road all over again, because like if I play Final Fantasy 14, I'm pretty sure from when I was playing it years ago, I'm pretty sure it's probably 50 times better than what it was when I was started playing it, which is more reason for me to ignore it. Even though I know it's great, I just can't do it, because if I played that, I won't play anything else. I want to diversify my experiences. Now,
Okay.
you asked me if one of your questions was like, you said there's one game that one genre of games that I don't really play much,
Right,
or I don't like. Now, there's no genre of games that I hate. There might be ones that I don't play as much. Like, honestly, I don't play sports games as much as I used to.
Me neither.
So, you know,
unfortunately.
I mean, because for me, sports games used to be couch co-op. I mean, not couch multiplayer. You know, like say my friends will come over or my cousins will come over. I'll play with my you know, growing up, you play your brother. You know, that experience, that was my experience playing sports games. You know, not playing online against someone else. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have fun that way, but you know, it's just not the same to me. And, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know some people complain about the lack of innovation. I mean, it's sports. It's hard to reinvent the wheel with sports. You know, you can't necessarily, I mean, you can add new bells and whistles, but I mean, I swear, I couldn't be them being burdened to come up with new ideas every year.
I know, right? But one of the big things, I mean, and we kind of talked about it earlier with 2K5, is like, and we also mentioned it with Game Day. It's just like, when there isn't competition, where does the drive come to innovate?
There's no drive, because they're the only one there, and you don't have a choice. So, I mean, there used to be a lot of off the field stuff that you used to be able to do. You know, I mean, even Madden did that. You know, I don't know if you remember like Madden 96, to where you would basically go through a whole workout to get drafted. You know, you would go through the combine.
You used to have to do the 40-yard dashes.
Yes.
And lift weights.
Yes. You know, you were doing all that, you know, and you were basically trying to get drafted. That's, I mean, you know, they don't really do much of that anymore. At least
now you just talk to reporters and answer silly questions for them to figure out what kind of person you are, so then they could, you know, use those answers for your long term. I mean, they try to do like an RPG kind of element to it, and it just seems a little lazy, because they don't go full out in it very much. They don't go very far. They don't go deep into it at all. So it's very surface level.
It is very surface level. And on top of that, you know, the focus is more about the monetization now, you know, because I'm pretty sure that Ultimate Team, they probably make more money than that. That's probably a big chunk of the money they make, you know, with Madden and FIFA. You know, I think 2K has their thing too with the V-Bucks or whatever they call that crap, the VC,
VC,
whatever that's called. So I think it's more geared towards the monetization now, you know. So, you know, it's really changed. So I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if that's your jam, that's cool, you know. But I'd rather not. I'd rather just stick to it. I just don't feel the drive to play them now. Every now and then I will get the taste. You know, you get a taste for football. Like say, you know, football season's in, right? You know, It's football fever. You know, you know. You have a taste to play football. You don't play some football, right?
Especially if you're following it and you like a new guy that just got drafted. Like, you're like, oh man, exactly. Joe Burrow is on this game, and the Bengals are my squad. I want to try Joe Burrow. Like, you get that
exactly. So I mean, you get that itch to play, but you know, I don't want to buy Madden 2 weeks and drop it. You see, I don't play it enough to justify buying it anymore. See, that's why, for me at least, the Game Pass solution works. For me. Because I can play Madden 22 whenever I want to. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm playing if you want to hear. Okay? And when after the Super Bowl,
You there?
yeah, I'm there.
Because
you know when
you cut
23
out after you said the Super Bowl.
Yeah, okay. I said after the Super Bowl, 23 comes out. 23 gets there, right? They drop 23 on there. I'll see you there. So at least I have a Madden to play when I want to. And I don't have to actually buy it. So for me, that works. It's just too bad EA doesn't have a basketball game, because I wouldn't have to buy any of them.
Personally, I think those sports games, if they're gonna have this VC and stuff in them, and they want somebody like me to buy into any of that kind of stuff, you got to make this game free to play. In my eyes,
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
I agree.
they're making Skate free to play, you know.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm just like, isn't it kind of a no-brainer to make Madden maybe free to play? I mean, I guess it would hurt because they're always like top of the charts or around top of the charts at the end of the year when they drop the new Madden. So they'd be losing out on that. But I wonder
They're
if
not
it
going to give
would,
that up.
you know, I mean, that's a big thing to ask them to give up. But
They're
at the
not
same
gonna give
time,
that
it's
up.
just
But
like,
I hear what you're saying. I hear
yeah,
what you're
for a
saying.
person like me, I'm just like, man, y'all ain't putting enough emphasis on the story or career mode as it is. Y'all might as well just make it free to play.
True. I mean, I like that, but they're not going to give that up. Those launch sales that always top charts, they're not giving that up.
Probably not.
But I mean, even though on top of that, Ultimate Team is where they make a lot of their money too. You know, I mean, Madden and FIFA.
Oh yeah, you gotta
But
get
they're
them
not giving
cards.
that up.
You gotta get them cards. But
Exactly. I mean, go
but
ahead.
yeah, let's move on to the current generation. I just want to know your thoughts, your feelings, the direction that it's going. What do you kind of think of it all? I mean, this is by far the most kind of, to me at least, the most just unpredictable, I think would be the best way to put it. This feels like it's going to be the most unpredictable generation that we've ever seen.
It's very unpredictable, and honestly, I really don't know what to make of it. Now, I feel that there's a lot of I think the goal right now, there's an arms race for content.
Right.
You know, and I think content, kind of like what the streaming services have been doing, you know, content, because that's what matters. So I really don't know what the next few years is going to be like. I really don't know. It's going to be hard for me to actually make an accurate prediction because I'm not an analyst. I just take it as it comes, so like everyone else. So it's going to be, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll have to have this conversation in a few years. All I know for sure is that, you know, there's a lot of purchasing going around.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of purchasing going around on all parties. Everyone's buying something and somebody. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I see, you know, Sony's made a lot of purchases. Microsoft's opening the Warbucks, you know, Tencent, NetEase, and Embracer Group. They're all buying. It's like every week you look up, you see a tweet. This company, this person's buying this person. This person's buying this person for this many $1 billion. You know, I'm like, dude, I mean, it's been constant. It's been a big ramp up. So clearly there's an arms race for content. I'm not sure where it's all going to lie in the future, but I'm here for it. All I know for one, go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
All I know is that I'm gonna stay invested in as many as I'm gonna keep my gaming spread like I have, just to be safe.
No, I feel that. Do you think that? All right, this is kind of like a 2 to 3 part question.
Go ahead.
A, do you think that PlayStation will go day and date? Then B, do you think, or I guess this is B and C, do you think Embracer Group or Tencent will ever drop a subscription service?
Let's see. First off, I don't know if they want to go day and date, because now I'm not an executive at Sony. I don't work, but my personal opinion, I don't see it happening. At least not right now. I mean, I think what they're going to have to do what works for them, because I think what they're going to do, they're probably, they'll release it, right? And then maybe a year or two down the road, they'll add it to their subscription service, like EA does sometimes, or other, like other people do. I think they'll follow suit like that. Now, I don't know. They say, because they probably don't want to give up those day one sales. You know what I mean? Just like EA and any other, they don't want to give that up. The thing is, these companies they're very protective. From what I see, they're very protective of that traditional retail, and they're no different. I mean, honestly, when I found out that when Microsoft was giving out their day one, their games day and date, I was floored. I'm like, are they serious? I mean, I didn't believe it. I'm like, you mean to tell me that I can play your big budget games without buying them? The day they come out, just download them? Seriously? I mean, I was floored. I was shocked. I'm like, but then again, I don't know. It's nice. I'm gonna take advantage of it. Now, I can't say for sure. Would I like Sony to do it? Hell yeah. Why not?
Okay.
Hell yeah. I mean,
so you would like to see that?
Yes. Who doesn't want to save money? Hell yeah.
Well, if you look at Twitter and whatnot, it seems like everybody willing to give up their paycheck.
But here's the thing: Twitter is an echo chamber. It's not a real place.
Facts.
Like Chappelle says, it's not real life. I mean, I like to save money. I like them to do it, but at the same time, if they don't do it, I can understand why they don't want to do it. But do I want them to do it? Hell yeah. Bring it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not gonna sit there and slander them and and bash them for not doing it. Not everyone wants to. Like, people, they're still protective of that model. Any business worth their salt will be protective of a traditional retail model. Now, not everyone has. I mean, they don't have Microsoft's trillions either. So that also, you have to also think of that. You know what I mean? Nintendo doesn't have Microsoft's trillions. Microsoft has money. They got big money. They can afford to take on more than of the other two. That's just the facts. They own the PC market. That's how they got their. They didn't become a $2 trillion company by just they make money. They have it. They have control. They have market share in the PC market. So they're able to do that. Now, just because Microsoft's able to do that doesn't mean the other two are able to do that. Now, I'm not saying they aren't, but at the same time, all three companies aren't on the same vein. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. So, I get it.
So if I want them to? Hell yeah, bring it. I want to play God of War day one on PlayStation Plus. Hell, I'll keep premium if that's what it takes. I would love that. Why not? You know what I mean? But at the same time, if if that's not what they want to do, that's fine. Then you know what? If I don't feel it's worth it, I won't pay that $70. I'll wait till it's $50 or $40. Wait for a sale. You know what I mean? Or
Absolutely.
Just do what you do. Wait for a sale. Rent it. GameFly is still a thing. Back all these days, you have so many options to go about your gaming. We didn't have those options back then. I mean, sure, we had Blockbuster. You used to rent games from Blockbuster. You know what I mean? But at the most, that was it. We didn't have the access. We didn't have these free to play games to where you can play for hours on end and not pay a cent. We didn't have those like that. You know what I mean? But we have options these days. We didn't have those options back then. So I'm less apprehensive when it comes to a price of a game. Like, do I want to save money, but at the same time, how bad do you want the game? Do you want it now? Or you do want it later?
Absolutely. So those of you that just came through, like Too Big, Stink Ma, I think was here a little bit earlier, but it dropped out and came back. And then Matt Likes Games at All. Welcome you guys as well.
Hi, Matt.
We got Mike. We got Mike Bison here with us today. He was on camera for a while, but we were having some stability issues. So I told him, go ahead and shut it down and get comfortable so you don't have to worry about all that BS. It ain't no thing, man. It ain't no thing. I ain't worried about it. You're not the first person to be off camera on this show, so I ain't even tripping. But all right. But one thing I wanted to interject was that, man, like the price Game Pass is right now. Like, remember, like, you almost couldn't even leave Blockbuster without spending that same amount of money that you spend one time a month. You know what I'm saying? Like you grab you grab a movie, you grab a game, and you grab some like Milk Duds or like, those like block or those like movie theater, because they had movie theater candy in there, right? So you had like your Butterfingers and whatnot, and you leave there spending about $20, which it was cool back then. But a lot of people don't. I don't think a lot of people put that stuff together where they're like, oh well, Game Pass. I mean, I'm not sure if it's worth the $15. And I'm like, bro, do you remember? Were you around back in the day?
It is definitely worth that. I've been subscribed to Game Pass since it came out. It is definitely worth that. I mean, for one thing, it's kind of like Spotify, right? For gaming, because you get to discover new things. I mean, I've discovered new games that I probably would have never looked at just for the fact that I can just download it and try it out. And hell, I bought a few games that I've liked that were on Game Pass that I've liked, and I bought them just to keep them in my catalog so I can still play them once they leave the service. You know what I mean? So absolutely. I mean, it's been a good way. It's been a good way to access and play games that you probably wouldn't even touch before. So I mean, it has a lot of, to you, the gamer, the consumer, it has a lot of benefits for you. I mean, I'm not worried about the company's finance wallet. I'm only worried about my own. Okay.
Hey, big facts right there. Those are big facts.
I mean, it's great. I mean, I think PlayStation, they see value in that to an extent, because they've been giving games on demand since the PS3 days. When they started Instant Game Collection back in 2011, to where, hey, look, subscribe to PlayStation Plus, play all these games. You know what I mean? You can play all these games, keep sub, you can play all these games. They're the ones they started giving away the games every month, so PlayStation sees value in that. They just won't give you their new games the day they come out, but they see value in having games on subscription. So games, access to games on the service, they see value in that too. They just didn't go as far as Microsoft has done. So if anyone is saying that, it doesn't make any sense for some people to say that, especially if you've been on PlayStation Plus for so many years. Because hell, if I've accumulated so many games off that service that's on my account since 2011, 2012. So count all those months of releases, right? Keep adding every month, adding 2 or 3 games every month. You know what I mean? You've been doing that. New game comes, 3 new games. You keep adding. And how many games do you have in your library right now? Just off of that, throughout the years. Have you looked at that? So many damn games.
Just too many. Exactly. And some of them I didn't even touch.
But still, the fact that you have access to so many games that you probably wouldn't even have touched before, or I've tried some games like, you know what, this is dope. Okay, I'll play the sequel when it comes out. So they share that philosophy. So I'm not sure why people speak against that philosophy, especially if you're a hardcore PlayStation guy, because Sony shares that philosophy. They just didn't go to the extent that Microsoft has gone with Game Pass. Not yet, at least. You know what I mean?
I think that's a fantastic way of putting it. Very good. And
They
see,
share
this is
that
why I got you. This is why I got you on the show, bro. Is because you got the knowledge, although you just don't content create. But you got the knowledge, so I want to talk to you about it because I know you respect gaming.
Game Pass is a great deal. Don't let nobody tell you no different. I mean, I know it's a console war front, but it's a good deal for the end consumer. It is.
Fantastic. Well, now I'm gonna ask kind of a weird question, and it's gonna be about Xbox and it's gonna be about PlayStation as well. Just to give everybody a little heads up, including you, Mike. We got about 23 minutes left, 25 minutes left max. Just in case anybody's wondering how long this is going to go and stuff like that. I know you got kids and, you got stuff you got to handle towards the end of the night. So let me go ahead and get into it. So I want you to tell me one good thing and one bad thing about each of the consoles. And you can add Switch in there if you want, but I more or less want to hear about the Xbox. What's one great thing about it? And then, a thing that just drives you insane, and then the same thing about the PlayStation.
Okay, let me start with the Xbox. I think they have a good vision. They offer great services. I think they have the best services. They've always had it though. I mean, even from the 360, they built on that. I like the fact that just a while ago I was playing Elden Ring on not Elden Ring. I was playing Doom on the cloud. Kind of like how you can play on the cloud and you can pick up where you left off on the cloud. You can go back to the console and pick up where you left off, right? I mean, they have that seamlessness. I mean, they built a lot of great things on their platform. That's something that I've actually come to like and take advantage of and respect. Now, when it comes to that, Game Pass in their services, and I think they've done an incredible job of making gaming easier and having it reach more people, things like that. They've done a fantastic job with that. Now, what I don't like, what I've had issue with is I'm not too confident, not right now. That could change later. I haven't been very confident in their management of game releases. You know what I mean? So I haven't been very confident in that. I haven't. And I'm sorry. I mean, I know we've gone through a pandemic, but especially
even
if you
before
look at
the
what's going
pandemic,
on,
it's been an issue.
It has. And now, get me wrong. I think that maybe in the years coming, maybe next year, going forward, things will be better. But the pandemic hasn't stopped the other two from pushing out content, regularly. So we can't really say COVID anymore because COVID hasn't stopped Nintendo. I mean, COVID caused the delays, but they still, the Switch has had an incredible year and they're still not done. You know what I mean? So Sony, they've had a good year of releases. I mean, then that leaves Xbox. It seems like right now, hopefully they can get that together and get the content rolling, because I know they got a lot of good stuff in the pipeline, but hopefully they can get that going sooner than later. So that's one thing I hope they improve on. So when it comes to that, that's the only big thing that I haven't been too confident of as of late, especially in the later years. I want more than Halo, Gears, and Forza. You know what I mean? Show me, where's all the other stuff? I want to see all the stuff you announced in 2020.
It feels like Xbox has kind of been a broken record for several years, and it's just been stuck on the same loop of the same part of the verse where it's just saying coming soon, coming soon, coming soon, coming soon, but it never gets here. Damn
exactly.
it.
It's years of they've been saying this is the best year. They've been saying that since 2018, 17, 18. It's the same messaging every year, but I want the content. So I'm hoping next year going forward, we'll see that, I'm invested, and I'll stay invested. I'm hoping next year we'll see that. PlayStation.
Absolutely. Okay.
Now, with PlayStation, I think they've done a great job in delivering that. The complete opposite, but I'm starting to feel that, it's gotten to a point to where they they're starting to have a disconnect with their audience on two fronts. The consumerism, I think they need to do a better job in communicating with their fans and their user base. I think they need to do a better job there. I'm not saying that that everyone needs Twitter accounts, you know what I mean, and messaging every day. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I think they need to do a better job in, you know, communication with their base. I think they need to do a better job in that. And some of the things that, you know, and a lot of the things that they've been doing, for sure, have left a bad taste in a lot of gamers' mouths. You know, especially, you know, with the price hikes and the prices going up on the games, things like that. And you know, a lot of the decisions they made doesn't really sit well, resonate with the consumer. Now, I would say if you have to make difficult decisions, I think they need to do a better job in, you know, communicating that to the world, to their staff, to the people that invest in their products. I mean, you can only take so many punches. You know what I mean? And you can only take so many punches until the cookie crumbles. You know, especially with they remember they just had to raise the price of their consoles in all these other markets. You know what I mean? Things like that. You know, all these it's bad optically. So I mean, it looks bad. I know it's probably not going to stop a lot of people.
Whether you're okay with it or whether you understand, hey, Sony had to do this, I get it, doesn't change the fact that it looks terrible. Like
it looks bad. Exactly.
Something can be absolutely necessary. I gotta fucking do this, or else, you know, my job's on the line or whatever. That does not mean that everyone's gonna co-sign with it just because you have to do it.
And it looks bad. I mean, it looks bad. Exactly. And, you know, and a lot of people, I mean, not me, because I don't live in an echo chamber, but, you know, some people make their decisions when it comes to these things like that. You know, oh, it's more expensive. Oh, but then you have your competitor that theirs is cheaper, and, you know, they're giving you access to so much more off the bat, which they've improved on, but they're still not to where Game Pass is, not yet, but you know what I'm saying. So I think their messaging needs to be better. I mean, I'm not sure what they need to do. They need to be a lot better than controlling their messaging, controlling their narratives, especially when it comes to the community. Because I think that's one area where they fall flat. Versus Nintendo, that's just radio silent and doesn't care what you think.
Right, and they just don't. But they could be forthcoming, because
a lot more forthcoming.
I feel like they put so much emphasis on being quiet that people get irritated, and then you see people start sending dick pics, and then people start. Not that that's their problem. People should be able to, you know,
control themselves.
Yeah, control themselves, but you got people sending dick pics, you got people leaking shit left and right, and it's like, yo, bro, if you just said something, you could calm everybody down. But instead, like, you have people wondering, you know, like, is this game coming out this year? Is it like where's the review on the game, or what's the gameplay even look like, or what's after God of War and Forspoken and stuff like that? It's like, I will say this. Maybe you can tell me, do you know what games are coming out after, you know, other than Spider-Man 2 and maybe Project Eve?
I think Spider-Man 2, Project Eve, I know, I don't know exactly yet, but
you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like,
I don't know. We don't know yet. We don't know. But the thing is, we don't know. I mean, I can't say anything about that. We don't know. But when it comes to me, I don't like when they announce things too early. Like, if it's not within a year of release, I don't want to know it exists. I mean, some people.
Thank you.
So when I don't want to know it exists if it's not within a year out, because sometimes some companies they get in this thing of announcing games that are way too early, announcing things too soon. You know, because I mean they've all done it. Sony's done it, Microsoft's done it, Nintendo's done it. I mean, where the hell's Metroid Prime 4? You know what I mean? But when they did announce that a long time ago, I don't want to know about it. I mean, I know you want to generate excitement to your platform, but at the same time, you don't know. I mean, you don't know where. God knows where these games are in development. Because even though where these games are in development when they're coming out, I don't want to know about it if it's not within. It was 2022. If it's not coming out in 2023, early 2024, I don't want to know it exists. Now, they do need to. What they do need to do. They need to set a timeline for the next year or so. That you're right about. Hopefully, they can do that in the next couple months because the gamers want to know. Okay, what do I have to look forward to within the next year? Microsoft did a great job of outlining. Look, this is everything that's coming to Game Pass in the next 12 months. Boom, everything. Boom, big old collage picture.
Well, that was perfect for you. That type of announcement was perfect for someone like you because
exactly.
you could set your level of hype for a game.
Exactly. Everything is coming out within the next year. Boom. Okay, look at all this. Okay, cool. I want that. I want that. I want that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what's coming. Sony needs to do a better job in community. Hopefully, with this, if they're actually going to have a showcase or something, hell, let your gamers know what's coming. Give them an update. We ain't heard about Spider-Man 2 since last year, you know, or whatever a lot of stuff that they showed. We want to know what's coming out for your console within the next at least 8, 9 months, 12 months, whatever. They need to do that. I mean, so at least if they did that, we wouldn't have to ask that question. At least next year, we know, delays and all, next year, we know what's coming to Xbox. And it's a whole lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, one of their games that was supposed to come out at the end of this year, I thought got canned with KOTOR.
Oh. Was it supposed to come out this year?
It is supposed to come out at the end of this year, is what I thought I remember seeing at the it's the Game Awards when they announced it.
Are you serious? I didn't know that. I knew it was announced, but I never knew it was coming out so soon.
I think it was supposed to come out like at the end of this year, beginning of next year.
Wow, I didn't know it was that close.
It was supposed to be. It's supposed to be. But anyways, let's hurry up and move on because we keep getting stuck in these subjects because of these conversations. Good. So I want to know. So throughout all the history, all the stuff that we just got done talking about, what about gaming? Like what about it has taught you something?
Wow. What it has taught me? A lot of games have taught me a lot of different things. Well, one thing I've learned I like to respect the vision to what I like the art style, the vision, you know, the music. I mean, I've learned that a lot of work actually goes into making these games. I mean, it's not just what you see on your screen. That's everything that goes on outside of it. You know, someone has to draw artwork, compose music, you know, the acting, the animation, you know. One thing it's taught me, I've learned to respect the work that's being done behind the scenes, the stuff that we don't see. You know what I mean? A lot goes into making games these days, and a lot we don't see and come to appreciate. So when you see that random guy on Twitter in a mocap uniform, you know he's doing some good work. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot going on. I think a lot of, and for me, you know, especially, you know, when it comes down, you could be a stickler if you don't, if a character doesn't look right, or if they don't have the right voice, you know. I think I've come to appreciate the art part of it, you know. Like, let me see, one game that I'm really excited for me personally, you know, Street Fighter 6, I'm all over that. You know what I mean? So, but it's more than just a game. It's the characters, it's the art, it's the stages, it's the, you know, the stages, the designs, it's the music, you know, the lore behind it, you know. There's a lot there. I mean, it's more than just playing it. There's a lot more to a game than just what you play. You know what I mean? And from what I've learned over the years, I've learned to respect all those aspects of it as well.
That's fantastic. So you just learn to take more than just face value with this stuff.
Exactly.
All right.
There's a lot more to games than Go ahead.
Now tell me why Souls games. Why are they so meaningful for you? Because every time I turn around, you're playing something Souls like, or you're 100%ed this game, or yeah. So what's going on?
Okay. For me, FromSoft is my favorite developer right now. I mean, they've been my favorite developer for a while. I love their games. I mean, and at first, for me, it brought a unique challenge that I haven't been used to recently, because back then games had challenge. Even old Sonic games had an element of challenge. Now games don't really have that anymore. Souls games are challenging to an extent, but once you break the mold, you're golden. Now, how many games to where when you're playing through them do you actually have to learn an enemy, learn from your mistakes? You know what I mean? Adapt, actually learn how to play, move differently, take certain things into consideration before approaching. You know what I mean? Souls
it's slim pickings.
Mm-hmm. Souls does that. I mean, and on top of that, actually learning how to manage your characters properly, with your armor, weapons, stats. I mean, it's a really deep system to where once I actually started getting into all that, it became my favorite game, because I can make what I want, how I want, but at the same time, although you have a sense of identity, they give you the gameplay is top notch to where if you've ever played a game and you couldn't beat a boss, right? Beating a boss, but then you might lose 50 times. But that 51st time you beat that ass. And you're hell yeah, suck my dick, and I'm flicking off the screen. And my wife was like, Did you finally beat the boss? Congrats, dear.
Right.
Because she knows I've been sitting there raging trying to beat this boss, beat my ass 50 times. But that 51st time I came in correct, I beat that ass. Okay. Souls games does that for you. I mean, not just games to where you ramp up the difficulty, because honestly, it's not to where the difficulty in some games where you just turn up the settings, it's artificial. It's more about ask yourself this question: how patient are you? It's not necessarily hard. They just dial up, okay, the enemy takes more damage, does more damage to you, things like that. A lot of difficulty is artificial. Difficulty in Souls is because the characters are actually they're there to kick your ass. Not because they didn't dial up anything. That character is there to kick your ass, and you need to learn how to beat them. Okay?
Yep.
That's Souls. You learn, you adapt, and you learn. I mean, you actually have to, quote unquote, get good. Okay?
I mean, I see what you're saying, and then again, I want to say this dude's a glutton for punishment.
I am.
He likes to yell that was some bullshit and stuff like that at his TV.
Yeah, come on!
Absolutely. So
I will rage, but once you've achieved that victory, it is so sweet. And Souls games do that for me.
All right, so this question is a little off the cuff. It's a little out there. It has nothing to do with what we've been kind of talking about. It kind of dives back into your history a little bit, and I'm kind of curious, throughout your lifetime of gaming, which console that you owned was the biggest letdown for you?
The Dreamcast.
Oh no, the most coveted is also the most.
Yes, it is my biggest letdown. It is my biggest letdown because, it was a culmination of Sega's gross mismanagement over the years, post the Genesis. They never really found their footing after the Genesis. Things went downhill from them. And, there's a myriad of issues they had. I love the console, but at the same time, I had to feel firsthand the negative effects of their mismanagement, because I started missing out on games because the platform was sinking, and I was missing out on games because I chose that platform. If maybe I could have waited. Now, I'm not saying I didn't want to wait because I had some awesome experiences, but going back, it was a great time, but the fuse burned out so fast. At the later years, I mean, you're reading, imagine reading in Game Informer, right? Actually, no, not Game Informer, Game Pro, because I got converted to Game Pro because the official Dreamcast magazine went under. Okay. And my subscription got converted to Game Pro, which I'm not used to using. So imagine having to go from the official Dreamcast magazine to reading Game Pro about all these canceled Dreamcast games.
Ooh. It's like 2 stabs.
Exactly. So, I mean, you learn that this game gets canceled, this game got canceled. Oh, this game's not coming to America anymore. You got to pay well over MSRP to import it. You know what I mean? Or this game's not coming. This game's going Xbox exclusive. This game's going GameCube exclusive. This game's going PS2. You ever been at a time at a declining platform? No disappointment is a measure. I mean, there are other platforms has had their highs and lows, but for me personally, that was it. And as much as I love the Dreamcast, it also disappointed me the most, unfortunately.
I feel that. I get it. It definitely died what felt like in a day. But I mean, it was a couple years, but like it felt like overnight. Like it was great, and then it was just gone.
It felt like overnight because, I mean, online services for games were getting canceled. I mean, you didn't have them. I mean, you sitting there having to play it, and on top of that, the console itself was so valuable. EB Games only wanted to pay me $8 for a traded-in Dreamcast.
Ooh.
So
that's
you just spent
$200.
A console you paid $200 for. Sorry, but you paid $200 for. They only want to give you $8 for it, right? And this employee had the audacity to hand me $8 in cash. Say, "I'll take it." Hell no.
Yeah, you out of your goddamn mind.
He wanted to pay me He brought out $8 in cash. It tells me I'll take it off your hands. $8. That's as much as still's worth. Do you know how much that hurt?
Yeah, that won't even get you a GameStop membership.
No.
Because I'm pretty sure that was $10, and then you got the Game Informer magazines and the discount and whatnot. But that shit's wild. $8? That's fucking disrespectful.
It was disrespectful.
But I'm gonna skip this question because we're kind of running out of time. But the next one I want to ask you is what game was something that you got like, and I want to bring this more into recent times. So forget about too far in the past.
Okay.
I want you to tell me what game you bought. You thought it was gonna be a banger, and it was just not. It was just not good.
One word. Anthem.
Oh no, don't say that.
Sorry.
I love that game, and then it took a nosedive. And
a nosedive, they even abandoned the reboot. They were supposed to reboot it. They abandoned that too. Yeah,
they abandoned that last year, in I think February. Is when they announced like the official abandonment of Anthem, because I remember hearing about it not last year but the year before around Christmas time, that they were thinking about dropping some more content, and everybody was like, finally, like it's been forever.
Yeah.
And then February came around, and they're like we're in a board meeting to figure out if we're gonna keep pushing with Anthem or stop it. And as soon as I heard that they were in a board meeting for it, I was like, this shit's over.
It's done. Hang it up.
That was sad because although that game came out looking wrong because they advertised it to look one way and it didn't look like that, I was still with it.
Yeah.
Because it was still a really fun game. It was great multiplayer wise and whatnot. It was really fun flying around with the homies and stuff like that. The story was ass, but the game was fun. The story was not good.
It should have been so much more, and it really disappointed me. But you know, I was expecting a lot more. It felt like it was going to be much more than it turned out to be. Unfortunately,
the Destiny killer, right? The Destiny killer, and it killed itself.
Yeah, killed itself. I mean,
gotta give it up to EA, right? Gotta give it up.
Yes, we do. I mean,
All right.
they've had a lot of blunders during the recent years, but yeah, that was one of them, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Titanfall's another one, blunder. But but let's not get into that conversation too much. Let's actually
Because I'll be all day with that.
Right. So let's actually head towards the door because we got to get out of here. We've been doing this for a little over 2 hours now. I want to know. I'm gonna make this kind of a compounded question. So I want to know what frustrates you in gaming, and also what would be a dream come true for you in gaming.
Well, I don't know if there's anything that truly, genuinely frustrates me right now, because
This could be anything. So this could be perception, the way games are coming out, you know, the delays. Like, I mean, there's a lot to choose from that may kind of irk you a little bit. I'm not saying something that like makes you want to rage, but just something that bugs the hell out of you. Maybe it's
monetization.
fans. Okay.
Monetization in paid games. There's no need for that. Monetize paid games. That's my biggest. I'm not a fan. Now, I mean, unless it's like pay to win, not a fan either. So that's why one big reason I steer clear from mobile.
Damn, Too Big in the chat said Anthem was the Titanic. That hurts.
Pay to win. I don't like pay to win. I don't like that either. Kind of like it rewards the people with the deepest pockets. You know, not cool. I mean, I don't want to have to. So that's one thing that frustrates me. Now, what was the other question?
Dream come true.
Dream come true? The most unrealistic one possible. Having one box that can play everything.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, that was K Megas as well. He is like, I wish all games were just cross-platform and you just chose your favorite system to play it on.
Exactly. You can just play everything on one platform. Yeah, the most unrealistic one possible. But yeah, that's a dream.
You know what's wild to me is I've heard that. I mean, K Mega said that, yes, and you said that just now, sure. But I've heard many people have that same sentiment, like not on my podcast, where they're just like, man, I wish it just didn't matter and you could just like choose your favorite, you know, one of the two. So if you enjoy the PlayStation chat better or the Xbox, you know, rewards, you can still play all the same games. But you know, you're just driving a different vehicle. You're going to the same destination, you're just driving a different vehicle.
Yeah, that would be the dream. You know, you just choose your weapon. You know, that would be the dream.
All right, so
I agree with that.
So this has been a fantastic show. Wrapping up this interview, I want to ask you, do you have any questions for me at all?
Okay, one question. Because I see you got a lot of retro stuff in your room. What was your first console?
This guy right here. I'm not sure if you're looking at but the Sega Genesis. I actually had the second edition first. The one with the light, the three lights in the center, or the three things in the center, you know what I'm talking about? But I used to have to use like a game case, so like Road Rash case or like Mortal Kombat case or something like that in the back of my console to keep it on. I had to prop it up.
Oh,
because the
wow.
the AC adapter was wobbly on it, so I had to keep that. And then the console itself comes with wired controllers, unlike any consoles nowadays. So I had to be like extra delicate and make sure I didn't rage out on my games and like yank my console to the side or something like that, because then it immediately cut it off.
Oh yeah, those old console growing pains. You had to rig it up to make it work. Yeah, my SNES was the same way and similar. I mean, you ever have to hold the RF switch in place gently just so you can play? I had to do that once. I think like me and my brother one time we would take turns holding it because you had to hold it in place at the TV just to get a clear picture, and we would take turns like 10 minutes apiece. It was like, hold it right there, hold it right there. I'm almost done. I'm at the end.
Okay, it was like the bunny ears thing, switch. Right? It was like the bunny ears. It was like the reception for the bunny ears. You had to like put the tinfoil in the right spot to get enough reception. I remember those days because my first gaming TV was a knob TV. Like I had to click, go. I had to push over to channel 3, and then dial in the contrast on it and everything. And then I had to take a knife. Then I had to take a knife. We'll see. I had to take a knife and go into the back of my TV and unscrew the things for the cables.
Bro,
so
really?
You remember those 2 forks that used to go in that you used to have to screw in the forks in the back of the TV to be.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah, so I used to have to do that all the time, and if like my console like fell down or like I yanked on it and like something happened, sometimes the video cable would come yanked out of the back of my TV. And so I'd have to screw it back in and stuff like that all over again. But yeah, I remember playing on an old ass TV, bro. Like that shit was old.
Damn. All right.
And
I gotta get up out of here.
Well, last thing before you leave is I want you to describe gaming in just 3 words.
Have some fun.
That means
a lot more than you know. Have some fun.
Oh, have
that
some
means
fun.
That means a lot more than you know. If that's what it's meant to be, fun. Have some fun. It means always.
All right. Well, with that being said, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Mike Bison, for showing up. Make sure that you guys, if you want to, check him out or whatnot, or hit him up on Twitter or something like that. You can check him out at A Crazy Buffalo, right? Or no, The Crazy Buffalo. The Crazy Buffalo on Twitter. That's his that's his handle, but that's also in the description below, so you can check it out there. Make sure you guys come out next week for another couple episodes of Behind Them Sticks. Like I said, I have Macca Guides coming on Thursday, and then I have Mag, the middle-aged gamer guy, coming on Tuesday, and then Bull Sitting, of course, with me, Cozy Beluga, and Loke every Friday, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. You guys make sure to come out, check that out as well. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Share this out so everybody else can see what Mr. Mike Bison is all about. But as I always love to say, you guys make sure you stay safe, but also keep it gaming or keep it moving. Peace out, y'all.
Keep it gaming. Word.
Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought to you by TSWS Gaming.
Come and talk to me, Lennard Ray. Come on. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you. If you quit playing, won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Look, see we vibing and you know it's true. Baby, what it do? Do for me and I'm I'ma do for you. No